We're back live previewing UFC on ESPN tomorrow. Tyrone Woodley versus Gilbert Burns. I'm your host, Preston Ekdahl. As always, joined by my co-host, Mr. Slaughterhouse1 on Twitter, Jeff Slaughter. How are we doing tonight?
What's up? We're doing great, man. I'm finally getting over this ass whipping I took last UFC event with Barbosa losing the mortgage for me. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
I know what you think. We won't go there for that because
I was pretty adamant on Twitter. I posted a lot of stuff about being very angry about that decision. So hopefully we change it up tomorrow. And
the good thing is we're out of Florida, back in the fucking Apex.
Yeah, Apex, smaller cage this week.
25 feet compared to 30, so there's not going to be a bunch of dancing running around.
Yeah,
which I love. Well, let's get at it, man. We have a nice card here, pretty good card. It's free on ESPN. That's always a plus.
Yep, whole card on ESPN tomorrow.
After we get through this prelims, we're going to go ahead and invite our buddy Sports Keg on for the main card. And first off, I want to kick off with the sponsors. Natural Heights, you can catch them at 1880 Nacogdoches Road here in San Antonio, Texas. Their phone number is 210-592-1060. If you suffer from anything from stress, anxiety, joint pain to insomnia, go see those guys. They'll help you out. And one last thing, we're broadcasting live from the Southtown 101 studios, so come see us. We're open 25%. We have the table 6 feet apart so you can feel safe, and come eat, bring your family, and have a good time.
Yeah, definitely. So we just want to go right into it.
Yeah, let's just get right into it. I don't think we need to recap. We recapped pretty much on Twitter last week. We put out all our emotions on the table. So.
Yeah, so let's just jump right in here. Opening fight, Chris Gutierrez is battling Vince Morales at bantamweight.
All right, so Chris Gutierrez comes in at minus 107. Morales is minus 123. Over and under 2.5. The over is minus 340. The under is plus 265. Preston, this is pretty close match here. These don't have a whole bunch of UFC experience under their belt, but between the two of them, who do you got?
So with the fights I've watched from Chris Gutierrez, he tends to use a lot of leg kicks, and that's how Morales' last guy, Benito Lopez, was fighting him too.
Kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah. But Morales dropped him pretty good with a nice, strong overhand right. Looks like he has better boxing, a little more power. Like you said, over 2.5 is minus 3 something. So they're saying decision. Could be a coin flip, but I will take the guy who looks like to have better power, more punching power, and take Vince Morales to eke out a decision.
Well, I'm going to be on the other side of you here. I initially was high on Morales. After going back and watching video, I really like this Gutierrez guy. He's got a lot of leg kicks. I think he's an all-around better MMA, period, as far as grappling, wrestling, striking, kicks.
That last fight is, I rewatched it. To me, it didn't look like he won against this Freitas Jr. Yeah. The bald guy.
I know, because I had bet on Freitas and I lost, and I was pissed off. I was in the airport on my way back from actually South Dakota, I think.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know if I bet it or what, but that was pretty, to me, blatant that he didn't deserve to win.
I agree, and the only reason I think he won is because he kept taking Freitas down.
Yeah,
and he was kind of just laying on top of him. But
yeah,
I'm going to go with Gutierrez. I think he does. I think he does have the full all-around better game. I think he'll use his calf kicks like you alluded to. He does throw a lot of those, and they're solid calf kicks. Got a good Muay Thai background. And Morales, to me, just seems a little one-dimensional more than I like. Kind of like another fighter later on with Brock Weaver.
Yeah.
You know, they're kind of just pretty good boxers with some good overhand rights and strong lefts.
Yeah, but see, I don't know. For me, this one could be pretty boring. It could be a lot of low output, standing across from each other, not doing much, and then it's like, okay, who won that round? Who won this round?
No, I agree 100%. And that's where I think that's why I'm edging Gutierrez, because when a fight like that with the all-around MMA experience or, skill level, I think he can use his grappling or go against the fence or, whatever situation comes, he'll be able to handle it. And I think he's a little tougher, in my opinion, but we'll see. We're going to go both flip the coin on that, and we're going to split that. Well, let's move on to the next fight, which is just as interesting here.
Yeah, so this one is Casey Kenny taking on Luis Smolka. Kenny's a pretty sizable
Kenny's
favorite.
the big dog. MyBookie.ag. By the way, guys, if you're looking for a book, these guys are great. They have good UFC lines. They're always changing. Good prop bets, and you can get a bonus by putting in our promo code Pub Sports. Go visit them. Put in Pub Sports promo code.
Yes.
So Casey Kenny is catching minus 285. Smoke is coming in plus 225. Big dog. Over under 2.5. Over minus 290. Under plus 230. Man, this is a tougher fight right here. Casey Kenny, to me, probably is the all-around better MMA guy. I think he has better jiu-jitsu, definitely better wrestling. I even think he has better boxing, to be honest with you. Smoka, though, to me is a little bit of a wild card because he has been training harder. He's been getting better. I think he's 2 for 1 his last 3. He's put on some weight, and he's just kind of a wild card. Like I can see Casey kind of controlling this fight wherever he wants, but Smoke is the kind of guy that is just crazy enough to roll out of some situation and end on top and ground and pound the hell out of Kenny. So that does scare me. And we've seen Kenny kind of seems like take time off a little bit during rounds.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, I got to back Kenny here. I think he's just the younger, hungrier fighter, and he has all around a better game, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. So I agree. So Casey Kenny's last fight, he kind of just got bullied around by Merab Dvalishvili. Just couldn't stop the takedown, got taken down over and over again, lost a pretty clear one-sided decision. Before that, to me, he fought a guy with a pretty similar skill set to Luis Smolka and Manny Bermudez.
Who came in enormous.
Yeah, Manny Bermudez is a lot bigger and stronger than Smolka. Kind of similar boxing, good off their back, good jiu-jitsu. Not super powerful, but enough, punching power to scare you away. And Kenny, that was another pretty close fight, but Kenny was able to get him down, hold him down, and I think he can pretty easily do that to Smolka. The only risk I see is getting caught during on top, doing ground and pound in an arm bar, a triangle, something like that. But besides that, I think this is going to be a pretty plain Jane. Get back in the win column, take him down over and over again, beat him up a bit, get your victory, and move on. So
yeah, I agree with that. The one thing that scares me is this price, though, at minus 285. I feel like the line's a little bit high. It's almost like a dog or pass for me, even though I am strongly leaving Kenny, and I believe Kenny will win the fight. I just have a hard time laying minus 285 personally.
Yeah, I guess if you can, depending on your book, if you have like a Kenny by decision or maybe Kenny by TKO due to ground and pound.
And it could be a little bit tougher fight than people think. Although, like you did say, Kenny pretty much dominated Bermudez, and Bermudez came in.
Yeah, he's a lot bigger than Luis.
So much heavier, and he actually agreed on a catch weight there, and they couldn't even make weight for that.
Yeah.
Came in heavier than that, and he was a mess that fight. And there was times in that fight, because I rewatched that, where Bermudez did end up on top, but that's not because Kenny gave up position. It's just Bermudez was bigger.
Yeah.
And he's not going to have this problem with Smoka. So
yeah, and that's why I think it's pretty safe.
Pretty safe. I agree. So we're both on Kenny minus 285. If you want to take the shot, go ahead and do it. Next fight, pretty interesting fight as well. Tim Elliott, right? Is that what you got?
Yeah, and Sherdo, I guess.
Tim Elliott comes in at minus 175 versus Brandon Royval plus 145. Over and under 2.5. Over is minus 130. Under plus 100. Who do you got, Preston?
Yeah, so this is a tough one. Tim Elliott, pretty long-standing journeyman. He's been in the UFC for a long time. Very awkward fighting style. Kind of leaves his head open, dips his head in and out, overhand, a lot of overhand punches, tries to get to the fight to the ground. And when he gets it to the ground, he seeks a submission out. Brandon Royval, not a lot of tape out there on the guy. Young kid, quick. He's had some quick finishes. Looks like he has a pretty good jiu-jitsu game. This is kind of more, is Tim Elliott shot? If he's shot, maybe you go with a young kid. I'm going to side with Elliott. Again, I'd like to give these debut fighters one solid real fight in the UFC before I really know how good they are. And with Elliott, you kind of know what you're going to get. He's going to try to outland the other guy a little bit, take it to the ground, beat him up there, and go for that submission. Royval, I don't, like I said, there's not much on him. And I think Elliott can still get it done here. I'll lay the 170 or whatever it is with Tim Elliott to get it done.
Yes, I know this is a tough fight for me. To me, it's more like kind of like a coin flip fight, like because you never know what you're going to get with Elliott. Sometimes he's just I feel like his IQ isn't that smart. He'll, for instance, like have great position and try to move out of it and get into some kind of submission and just ruin it by
like against Figueiredo, he was like his hands were down and he was eating shot after shot, and then he just shot in for a takedown. Figueiredo got the guillotine immediately and he tapped in like 2 seconds.
And that's the other thing that scares me about Elliott is he does fight with his hands down, which drives me fucking crazy, because in this modern day UFC with people doing all kinds of crazy spinning fucking elbows and back fists and fucking wild ass shit that you're not expecting. I mean, Brandon Royale throws a lot of that kind of stuff. It's going to be an exciting fight. I think there's going to be fireworks going off. Brandon is a jiu-jitsu guy. Tim Elliott is too. This is going to be a good grappling match if it gets to the ground. Only thing I don't like about Royval is he does tend to get on his back too often, which he kind of fights like that because he fights off his back. He's got good submissions from his back, constantly grinding. I'm going to take a shot with I just can't back Tim Elliott. He's done too many stupid things for me to back. At this price, I'm going to take a shot with the dog here.
Yeah, I mean,
plus 145. I think he's hungrier. I think he wants this more than Tim Elliott does, and I think he can hang with Tim Elliott. I mean, just the thing that scares me is Elliott's going to have the big advantage in the wrestling, so it just depends on what Tim Elliott comes out. But with that being said, I'm going to take the dog. I'm going to take the plus 145 money here and take a shot.
Yeah. I mean, that, and like you're saying, Elliott's he's 1-3 his last 4, so it's not like he's rolling much.
Exactly.
So, we move on to Jamal Hill, right?
Jamal Hill, that's what I've got. Yep. So Jamal Hill comes in as the favorite, minus 135 against Klidson Abreu, right?
Yeah, Klidson Abreu
plus 105. Yeah, I always mispronounce that name.
Yeah.
I just call him Klidson actually, but so Klidson comes in at plus 105, over and under 2.5. The over is minus 190, under plus 155 here. What do you got?
This one, the line originally was around Jamal Hill minus 170, 175. Took a pretty big dive. I think Hill's taken some late money. Hill is a new prospect. He's had one good UFC fight, like in the actual organization. I think that was the one where he ate a lot of nut shots against Darko. But he's long, tall, good body kicks, good range, good stand up. And he's going against Klidson Abreu, who in his last couple of fights, he's been standing a lot more, throwing a lot of leg kicks. Now, with the height of Jamal Hill, looks like he has pretty skinny legs. If Abreu can chop his legs down, maybe, it makes it easier for him to shoot, get a takedown, and get a submission. But if the fight were to stay standing, which I think it is, I think Jamal Hill is going to get him out of here. Klidson Abreu didn't look particularly good here in San Antonio. He fought Sam Alvey, beat him up, but he's another guy who doesn't do a lot, and that's my issue with a lot of these fighters.
Sam Alvey is harder than suspected.
He's
a tougher guy. I know he's not the greatest, but he is tough.
Yeah, like his last fight against Span, he took a lot of big shots. He
could have won that fight, in my opinion.
Sure. But I just think Klidson is. I think this is gonna be a stand. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a more standing fight. I think Hill's just gonna be the busier fighter. So you just gotta hope the judges side with the busier fighter, and Hill gets a decision.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this is if it does stand, I think Hill pieces Klidson up all day long. Like I think he's got it on the feet, no problem. Where there is a problem with Jamal Hill's takedown defense and is not very good on the ground, Klidson can totally expose that if he wants to continue to go after takedowns. I mean, he's a high-level jiu-jitsu guy. He's actually better than known. He's got a few submissions under his belt. I'm not sure. which fight that was. Anyway, but the thing is, he doesn't use it enough. He doesn't try to take fights to the ground, which is kind of odd because he is a probably more skilled than a lot of these guys at this weight. But with that being said, I think Jamal Hill's younger, more athletic, the hungrier guy. He's a tough guy too, a tough kid, and I think this does stay on the feet, and I think he does piece up Klitzen all day long.
Yeah, we just don't want a Michael Johnson 2.0
Yeah.
situation here.
Exactly. No, yeah, some kind of fucking heel hook. No, fuck that. So yeah, I'm going with Jamal Hill at minus 135. I'm going to go with the younger, stronger, hungrier kid. And I don't like the way Klitzen fights. Anyways, he does throw a lot of leg kicks, and he tries to bang, and he's not that great of a striker at all. He doesn't throw enough, and
that's the big deal. I think Hill is just going to be busier and more active.
Exactly,
and that should win rounds and get him the decision.
I agree, 100%. Okay, so we're moving on to the next fight, which was a scratch from Kevin Holland's. Which I was kind of excited about. I wanted to see Holland versus Rodriguez. Daniel Rodriguez comes in at minus 365. He's going to fight a newcomer, Gabriel Green, at plus 261. Over and under 1.5. Over is plus 100. Under is minus 130. Man, this is easy for me. I'm going Rodriguez all day. Rodriguez, to me, is an all-around better fighter. Just period. I think he's a super tough, durable kid, strong as hell. He looked very good against Tim Means. He made Tim Means look idiotic. I remember that bet very well because we lost a big parlay to that, didn't we?
Yeah.
We had Tim Means in his home state getting his ass kicked. That's not.
Yeah, Means the first round, I think he was doing good. And I think at the end he got caught and then he got hurt. And then the second round he was pretty much toast.
Yeah.
Like we kind of knew he was done. Yeah.
Yeah, but so to me, Green's an exciting kid, but I don't think he has enough to face someone like Rodriguez. Rodriguez, he's just an all-around good MMA guy. He's powerful as heck. He's strong. He's tough as nails. I mean, I'm going Rodriguez all day here.
Yeah, so I completely forgot that this fight was on the cards. I didn't look up a lot of Gabriel Green stuff. I had watched more Daniel Rodriguez, like Jeff said. We lost money on him when he beat Tim Means. But Rodriguez was throwing some heavy shots, and he ended that fight with a choke. So he has some good submission, too. Submission ability, too. Like I said, first fight with a new guy, hard to back him, especially this short notice. Even though Rodriguez did take the fight versus Holland on like a week notice. So I guess it evens out a bit. But I don't know enough about Gabriel Green to back him, and the price seems out again. I don't know. The price seems a little high, but
it probably is a little high. But
because it's not like was it last week or 2 weeks ago with that Giga Chikadze where he fought that little Erwin Rivera, the little Mexican guy who was just eating those knee shots over and over. But that guy moved up in weight. The little guy. He was moving up 10, 15 pounds. Here, both guys are at 155. So size-wise, they look similar. So, but who knows? Again, like I said, I know nothing about Gabriel Green. I think Rodriguez probably will knock him out. The total is pretty interesting, too. They're at 1.5. So
Gabriel Green's kind of an exciting fighter. Like, he's going to do a bunch of crazy shit, but he's just not good enough skill level, I don't think, to even come close. I actually see Daniel finishing in this first round.
Yeah, so that could be
so under is minus 130, under 1.5. You got a round and a half to do that.
Yeah, and that usually does happen in these fights where like
someone's coming in off short notice, especially within a week short notice.
Yeah, what was the fight? It was that
this is just days short notice, wasn't it?
Yeah, this was literally Monday or Tuesday.
Okay, so that's a big advantage for somebody, dude.
Yeah.
And Rodriguez trains, with Cowboy. He lives with Cowboy, he trains with Cowboy up at Elevation, right? In Colorado.
Yeah, he has a good fight team. Yeah, for sure.
And he's living with, so he's going to be in shape. Like, he's not taking any time off. Plus, he was about to fucking face Kevin Holland. Like,
yeah, Kevin Holland is a very good prospect. Maybe not a prospect anymore, but yeah, very good fighter.
So if anything, he is taking a massive step down in competition.
Yeah, Holland would have been bigger, rangier. Yeah, this guy, he's taller than this guy, so he should do what he wants. But like I said, 330 or 360, whatever you said, it's
336. It's hard to lay. Take the under 1.5.
Yeah,
I think Rodriguez can get it done
for sure.
Next fight, what do you got? Because my bookie has it all kind of screwed up here.
Next fight I have is Spike Carlisle versus Billy Quarantillo.
Spike Carlisle versus Billy Quarantillo. Billy Quarantillo comes in at -130. Spike Carlisle comes in at even money now.
He is eating money.
They're taking the money on him. So the over and under here is 2.5. Over is +125, and the under is -155. Man, this is a good fight here. I think it's two good prospects coming into their UFC careers, trying to make an impact, like big time.
Yeah,
Billy, to me, he's kind of a comeback kid, is what I've been seeing. He starts slow, very durable kid, good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu, and he's got that something to him, like an edge that just he can push it and in the overdrive and get these fights won. Spike, on the other hand, you can see a lot of tape on him, and he's a first-round knockout artist. Like, he gets fights, done with powerful punches and
really aggressive,
really super aggressive. And one thing I noticed with Spike is he does gas, and maybe that is because he's so aggressive during the first round or two. But man, this is a hard fight for me because I want to back Spike. I think he can get the job done in the first or second round. But Billy, man, if he gets over that hump and he can outlast Spike, he can outpoint Spike too. He's not he's not as bad as a fighter as he's actually the favorite here. He's a good fighter.
Right.
Man, this is tough. I'm gonna let you go because I'm actually torn on this fight the more I think about this fight.
Yeah, so Billy Quarantillo, his Dana White Contender Series fight is getting beat up pretty bad the first round, but like you said, kind of like a comeback kid, and he really started putting on his opponent, and he's like you're saying, he's really tough. He reminds me kind of like a Joe Lozon type.
Exactly.
Where he can eat some punches, but then he can give 2, 3, 4 back. And as long as he doesn't get dropped early by Spike, I do think Spike, I did see there's a fight, I don't know if it was LFA, one of those organizations where he was really aggressive for 3 minutes, and he started huffing and puffing, and it was like, this isn't great. So
he's got a massive muscle on him. I mean, he's a big dude I think he's a little bit shorter, but his reach is, I think, like 1 inch longer.
Yeah, but I think Billy is just a lot better. But so apparently we're going to bring on Mr. Sports Gag. Jason is going to hop in here. Maybe he has some thoughts on Billy Q versus Mr. Spike Carlisle.
Yep. This is a coin flip fight for me. I want to back Spike, but I need some more
I personally I'm leaning pretty hard on Billy. I wasn't too impressed with Spike, even though he crushed Alon Cruz, who we had, or at least I had.
I mean, Spike, dude, he started that fight with freaking with that head kick to Alon Cruz, and Cruz is fucking tall as shit. So that's some great technique there.
Yeah, and he was
get your kick that fucking high,
he was elbowing the hell out the guy.
Man, since you're going Billy, I'll flip the coin and we'll be on the opposite ends. I'll go Spike. I mean, I think it's a good fight, but it does come down to that 2.5 round mark. If he gets over 2.5 rounds, I think that means Billy's outpointing this guy and lasting, taking the abuse. So
for sure,
I'm going Spike plus even money. What's up, Jason? How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, boys?
How you doing, man? We're doing great. You doing okay?
Yeah, everything's going well, man. A lot of exciting things happening at the keg coming down the pike. NASCAR show last night picked up about 9 units. So all is well, my friend.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome, man. One of these days I'm gonna hop on that NASCAR and tell y'all, because that's something I've never gotten into yet, besides drinking beer.
Yeah, I didn't get into it really either, to be honest. But once I started, man, it's addicting.
I mean, especially if you can make money off of it, right? That's the whole key of this, is to make money where you can.
Sure.
Anyway, Jason, we got through the first half. Yeah, we got through the first half of this card, man. We're gonna come in strong and finish this main card with you.
I got something on Spike. If
We
you
should be
want me
going to
mention
Chukagian.
that.
Yeah. Let's hear what you got, because we're a little torn on that. Brusson and I are both on opposite ends there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like Spike Carlisle as a fighter. Myself and the other Keg MMA analyst, Dave, we were on Carlisle when he fought Cruz. We grabbed him at a pretty solid number, around plus 175. We looked at the tape study and we thought it was a no-brainer. So, I mean, we got the win, but I don't think we really learned much because it was over really fast. We know that Carlisle has solid hands. I think, he's got a nice frame for the division. He seems comfortable when he's pressuring, but it wasn't that hard for Cruz to back Spike up against the cage in the little time that the fight was on. I'm not sure what to make of that, really. So, I mean, I don't know. He fights this catchweight bout. I think it's catchweight at 150 against Billy Q. I don't really know a ton about him either. Yeah, I don't really know a ton about him either. He seems to be most comfortable when he's swarming and when he's pressuring his opponents. But I think he's lacking a little bit in the defensive striking department. His chin is out there in the wilderness when he's in the pocket a lot, man. And he seems very content on getting hit as long as he's sending one back. So I like the belief that the kid has in his hands, and he's got some power for the division. And I like the fact that he attacks all aspects of his opponent's frame, which a lot of fighters don't really do anymore. Now, he was really solid on the ground against Jacob Kilburn, but Kilburn's different than Carlisle. My guess is that Spike is probably the fighter that takes Billy Q down, probably keeps him there. The question is Spike Carlisle like a solid athlete that's not a great fighter, or does he have the foundation of a mixed martial artist yet? And I don't think we know the answer. So I think if you got Spike Carlisle at the opening number of plus 135, I'm fine with that bet. I think there's value there. If you didn't, you have to watch the fight, I guess, because you're going to have to keep your eye on the line and let the number guide you based on whatever you see. My gut says that it goes under 2.5 rounds, but I have absolutely no desire to lay that 155. So I'm thinking if you got Carlisle at the opener, you're probably in good shape as far as value is concerned. And if not, you're just going to have to watch live.
No, I agree. That's a good assessment. I was just thinking, you brought up a point why most fighters don't go to the body and things like that and try to attack you from different angles. Well, obviously that's because the judges don't count body shots. I'm still hung up on Barbosa. I'm sorry, Jason. We watched that fight 1,000 times and we're like, dude, did they not count the body shots Barbosa was landing on Borg?
on Iggy.
On Iggy, my bad.
That whole night of judging was a complete shit show.
It was, dude. I'm so happy we're out of Florida. I mean, that was insane, bro.
Yeah, I agree completely.
But anyway, either way, the more I think about it, when you're someone like Barbosa's stature, you don't want to leave fucking anything to the judges. So he should have fucking known better. He had opportunities to put it on him and he didn't.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we're going to move on to the next fight, which is what? Caitlin
Chukagian. Yep. Versus Antonina Shevchenko.
Okay. So Shevchenko comes in as the favorite here. We got her at minus 135. Chukagian comes in at plus 105. The over and under 2.5, minus 150 over, under plus 375. Sports Keg, what do you got here? Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm on Chukagian here, man. She's a New Jersey girl. She lives where I live. I'm just not really impressed with Antonina Shevchenko. I really haven't been in almost her entire time in the UFC, because she lost to the librarian, man. And when you lose to the librarian, I mean, that's just bad. I mean, can we be honest? Roxanne Modafferi should not be a UFC fighter. She should be at a public school library somewhere, right?
I mean, she's been winning though.
I know, bro. I know. I get crap from my guys all the time because I'm in absolute awe every time she wins a fight. But I still don't hire and hold in high regard. I don't care.
Yeah, she just kind of outworks, I guess, the other girl.
Right. She takes her opponent down, and she wrestle mugs them for 3 rounds so she doesn't get hit. So I like Caitlin Chukagian, man. I love her range striking game. I know that she will never knock you out. Her only chance is just to outpoint you in a decision. But I don't see why she can't do that against Antonina Shevchenko. And I got her at the open at like plus 140. I think you can get her now at like plus 120. I still think that that's probably enough value to hop on her. Listen, man, Valentina Shevchenko is the second best female mixed martial artist probably in the history of the sport. So I'm throwing that fight out. I'm not going to hold that against Caitlin Chukagian. There are levels to this game, man, and she is clearly not on that level. But that doesn't mean that she can't fuck her sister up. You know what I mean? So I'm taking a shot. I think she's a good dog, and I like Chukagian.
What do you think, Preston?
So this is an interesting fight. I think Chukagian, though, like you're saying, she throws a lot. I don't know how many of those throws actually connect, but she is busy. So maybe that will look better with no crowd. Maybe, I'm not sure. I think Shevchenko, if she can get a clinch, obviously has the advantage there. She'll use her knees, her elbows. But if Chukagian can keep it at range a bit, throw more, maybe she'll get it done. I don't know. This is another tough fight. I do think you are getting the value with Chukagian with the line, because she goes from fighting, like you're saying, the top dog in the division to a pretty, I don't want to say mediocre, but like a run-of-the-mill fighter. Because even against Lucy Pudilova, she got cracked bad, and she was cut really bad by her eye, and I almost thought they were going to stop the fight, but she got a submission, which if you had a Shevchenko by submission, round of applause, you had to be getting 20-1 on that one.
Well, that's my point. Don't you think that this is a coin flip fight at best?
Yeah,
at best, for sure.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight because Shevchenko was when she got the Dana White fight, the contender fight, she was getting a lot of hype. And then her first fight, she fought that Chinese girl, and she didn't look good at all. Like, she was supposed to run right through her, and it was a little tougher than you thought. Then she drops the fight versus Monteferi, comes back, looks okay against Pudilova, and now she's against the number 2-3 girl. And if you're getting the number 2-3 girl plus 120, yeah, that's never a bad bet. So yeah, it's a tough fight. I mean, I personally won't be betting on this fight, but I can see both girls winning. I think people are taking Shevchenko, making her the favorite because they think she has a better skill set or like is more accomplished standing with her Muay Thai. But again, that's not what MMA is. Maybe Chukagian is going to try to get, grapple a bit. You never know. So,
well, Chukagian's got, I think, like 0 takedowns in the UFC. And the other thing about Chukagian, though, is she's a brown belt jiu-jitsu girl. She just never uses it, which is nuts.
Yeah, that seems to be the problem with the UFC currently. A lot of these people, they choose to stand and trade. We saw it in the Arlovsky fight. The guy he was fighting, Lenz, was a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He takes Arlovsky down. Maybe he taps him out. Instead, he chooses to stand and trade and lose a boxing match, a kickboxing match. So, yeah, I mean, it's an issue.
Well, I'm going to side with Chukagian here. I like the Jersey girl. I think this is kind of like Jason says, it's a coin flip fight. They're both going to stand, kickboxing kind of match. With no crowd, it's going to sound like a tennis match. They're both pretty loud. They both like to scream a lot when try to convince the judges. So, but Caitlin, to me, I think she's got the edge with the kickboxing. I think she's a little stronger. I think she's tougher. She just came off a fight with a world-class champion. Although you could say Shevchenko is a little bit more prepared because she was in her sister's corner for the last fight. Maybe she was in on that game plan the whole time. Doesn't mean that can translate into her actually doing that game plan,
Right.
making it happen. I like Chikagian. I think she's gonna win this fight by a decision. She's got the better footwork of the two, I've noticed, and in a fight like this, I think footwork matters a lot. Shevchenko likes to use her left, and that, to me, that's going to be a problem for Chikagian's going to move forward and always be active. We know that, and that's what I like about her.
Yeah, she'll be much busier.
Yep, much busier, and that's what I think wins this kind of fight. You got to stay busy.
Yeah, and that's in a later fight. That's the main handicap I have as well. So yeah, I will side. I guess we're sweeping the board there with Caitlin Chookagian.
Great, let's sweep the board. Okay, who's next on the docket here?
I believe Dern, right? Mackenzie Dern.
Okay, yeah. So we're coming up to Mackenzie Dern, big favorite, minus 440 against Hannah Cyphers at plus 320. Over and under 1.5. Over 1.5 is minus 145. Under plus 115. Preston, what do you got here?
Yeah, it's pretty tough to take Hannah Cyphers here just because when you're getting grounded and pounded by Angela Hill, who's primarily a kickboxer, I don't think you're looking too good against a elite jiu-jitsu practitioner in Mackenzie Dern. Dern has a solid power, not great technique standing though, but again, she has solid power, and all she needs is one, at worst, 2 takedowns, get her down, try to get her in the middle of the mat, ground and pound her. Maybe she gives up her back, get a submission. Cyphers is very tough though. She can take a beating, but this is a little too much here. She's been thrown to wolves before. She got thrown to the wolves against Macy Barber and was getting brutalized there too. Tough fight for Cyphers. You're laying a heavy number, 440. Maybe you can parlay it, but I think Dern inside the distance, Dern by sub, Dern by TKO KO to mitigate the juice, something like that. Yeah, I definitely think Dern gets her out of there before the round fight goes to decision.
Yeah, so Dern by a submission is minus 115, and that might be the way to go because how else is she going to win?
It would be like ground and pound, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
get her down and just start.
So even if you cover these two bets, Dern by TKO, you're plus 600 there. So
yeah,
either way, you're good. I don't see this being a decision. It's not going to come down to points here. If it does come down to points, Dern's in trouble because Cyphers is decent stand up. I mean, she can stand up and definitely outskill Dern on that end of the aspect. But I don't think that happens. Dern knows what she's got to do. She's got to get in there quick. She's got to take Cyphers down, and she has to submit her. That's what she has to do. Or she's going to use her body weight. She's the bigger girl to kind of, like Preston alluded to, ground and pound, so to speak. And I think Dern is going to win this fight. I'm not going to lay the minus 140, but maybe the prop as far as submission or at minus 115 or TKO, plus 600 would be a good option. What do you think, Jason?
I think this fight is borderline not fair. That's what I think. I think that there are some things that I like about Hannah Cyphers. I think that her footwork isn't bad. She has a functional striking game, I guess. I think I like her overhand right. I think it's probably the best tool that she has. The problem is she's really raw and she's really small. And she is fighting somebody that, in my opinion, is monumentally further along in her progression as a mixed martial artist in Mac Dern. So, and Preston said this earlier, if you're getting out grappled in the cage by Angela Hill, you should be terrified to go in there and roll with somebody like Mackenzie Dern, right? So the one thing that I will say is that Mackenzie Dern will get hit a lot, man. Her striking defense needs a lot of work. She got absolutely abused by Amanda Ribas, but she proved that she's super tough and that there's probably nothing that Cyphers is going to do to stop Dern from walking through it and taking her down, man. And I think when that happens, it's a wrap. This should be Mackenzie Dern by a mile. However, she's a $4 favorite. I'm not going to lay that on her, even though I do think that she wins the fight easily. We know that Dern's going to take this fight to the ground. And if she gets her down early in the first round and she's got 4 minutes to work, it may take only one takedown. The question becomes, does she lean on that incredible Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or does she take her down, pin her, and end it with strikes? My gut says that it's by submission. And considering her background, I don't mind laying that at minus 115 by sub in this spot. So that's probably where I'm at.
Yeah, I actually love that bet. The more I think about it, Mackenzie, she wants to get this done as fast as possible, get back to being an Instagram model, and go from there. Because apparently she's not the most active in the gym there. She's more active on Instagram, I heard, than she is training. So we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, that's a lot of the MMA girls now.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we're on agreement here. Dern should dominate. Let's move on to the next fight. Roosevelt Roberts comes in at minus 356. Brock Weaver plus 281. Over and under 2.5. Over minus 175. Under plus 145. Sports Keg, what do you got?
Yeah, man, this should be a really bad night for Brock Weaver. I think it's a bad matchup. The problem is that Roberts is currently like somewhere around minus 330. And the question becomes, is anybody comfortable laying minus 300 or higher on Roosevelt Roberts? I'm not.
Nope.
Because maybe you can add him in a parlay. But like I mentioned the last time I was on this show, he opened at 280, man. I wouldn't have told anybody to bet it at that price. So I think that there probably isn't any value as a parlay piece either. I think that Brock Weaver is going to be at a substantial speed disadvantage in this fight. And unfortunately for him, you can't exactly teach speed, although I guess you can work on your conditioning. But when I think about what Brock Weaver is, he's a slow barroom brawler, right? And that always seems to fall headfirst into somebody else's clinch. And unfortunately for him, Roosevelt Roberts has a really, really solid clinch, man. Really solid. Much better than Weaver. And I think that the speed advantage will help Roberts pretty much everywhere. Weaver's a solid scrambler. I think Roberts is faster. Weaver's an okay striker. I think Roberts is better, right? But like I wouldn't, for me, man, I guess if you absolutely have to bet this fight because you want action, I guess he's a parlay piece. But that's it, man. That's it. As far as the total, I have no real lean. I guess I lean over 2.5 rounds, but not at minus 200. I just can't bet it at minus 200. So it's a pass for me, but I guess you could throw it in a parlay piece if you need some action.
No, I agree. Preston, what do you have?
Yeah, so initially this was a couple guys I talked to favorite look on the card, but I agree. I didn't think this line would be quite this wide. Roosevelt Roberts isn't really a super high output striker or fighter, so it's not like you're getting a guy where he's going to easily control the, dominate the round. He could dominate here if, to me, he takes it to the ground, because I think he has a pretty clear advantage there. Weaver, like you were saying, kind of a brawler, gets it in the clinch against the cage, tries to throw a lot of punches, and then he's tough. I mean, he lasts rounds, so like he lasts and he is tough. But Roberts is the better technical fighter. Roberts came to the UFC with a little bit more hype. Tough loss against a tough guy though, in from El Pichel. Not a horrible guy. Then he beat a good Russian prospect too. I think that was in Russia too. So Roberts is good. It's just I don't think he's as good as this line is claiming him to be.
And that's the thing about Roberts is one thing I can't stand about him is his IQ seems kind of low. Like he just let some of these fights go, for instance, when they're unnecessary situations. But yeah, I agree. Every aspect, he's better than this kid. I mean,
Yeah, it's just I just wish he had a little more like finishing ability or takeover ability, kind of like a young John Jones used to have, where they know, hey, you get this finish, you're going to move up more in the ranks. Here, it seems like a lot of the fighters now, again,
it's point fighting almost.
yeah, I guess it's more like that's where I guess it's more of a sport with the points more so because I don't know. I just go back to remembering I could have sworn back in the day there were finishes all across the card and like they wanted to finish more. Now it's it looks like I landed 72 out of 112 punches. You land 49 out of 79 significant strikes. Who gets the fight? I don't know. It's just it's quite different to me, but so you're just going to go with the more skilled fighter, and the more skilled fighter in this instance is Roberts. So I think Roberts will get a win here.
Yeah. And I think without all the explanation, I think Roberts is by far the better fighter. I don't believe in Brock at all. I don't think he belongs in the UFC just yet.
Yeah, it's just he's only in there because of the charisma and like
his charisma.
name.
Now,
Yeah.
if you take his heart and his like warrior type intangible and put it in Roberts, like this wouldn't even be a question. No one would even think twice. But because Brock does have heart, and that's what people like about him. But he's not very good, man. He's just a fucking kind of a low-level boxer, in my opinion. And he can take damage. He's a tough kid. Like he's a scrappy ass kid. Roberts, on the other hand, is just well more established. Although his MMA career is pretty green, he's leaps and bounds skill level better than Brock Weaver. And there's only one way to go is just to take Brock Weaver. I don't want to lay that price. And I'm not trying to find some other prop bets here. And I don't see many that I like. Because like I said, I don't know where Robert's head at per fight. You don't know his IQ. You don't know if he wants to roll around with these guys and go for submissions all fight. You don't know if he wants to stand and strike with these guys. So I'm going to pass on this fight, but it's Roberts all the way. I mean, he's going to win this fight. So.
Yeah.
Parlay piece, like you said, maybe that's an option. Or even Roosevelt Roberts by decision. I could see him just kind of
I was gonna say
lingering around with
either decision or submission.
Yeah, so a submission, Roosevelt Roberts submissions plus 300. That's not a bad bet.
Yeah, that would be
if you want to take a shot.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're on agreement there. Robert wins fairly easily, and we're going to move on to the next fight.
Co-main event.
We have Augusto Sakaya versus
Blagoy Ivanov.
Oh, there it is. Yep. Blagoy Ivanov. Ivanov comes in at minus 115. Sakaya at minus 115. Even money. Over and under 2.5. Over minus 180. Under plus 150. Preston, who you got here?
Yeah, so Ivanov has, I guess, better names on his ledger. He's fought Tai Tuivasa, JDS, Derek Lewis, Alexander Volkov. But Ivanov just doesn't do enough. Like I guess he comes forward, throws big shots, heavy shots, and he's tough. I mean, he's super tough. Like he can take a shot. Dos Santos was hitting him with the kitchen sink and couldn't put him out there. Augusto Sakai, though, looks to be the bigger guy, and I think he's the faster guy. And being the faster guy, I think he's going to be more active. Being more active means he's going to win the rounds. I think Sakai by decision is a pretty good look here. I just think he's quicker. I don't think Ivanov is going to even think to take it to the ground. I think it's going to be all standing, and I'm going to take the quicker, bigger guy and just hope he doesn't get KO'd by one big shot, and I don't think he will. I think Augusto Sakai wins the decision here pretty cleanly, personally. So, yeah, that's where I'm going.
Jason, what do you have?
I don't have a lot on this fight. Neither of these guys really impressed me at all. I think that Sakai's probably viewed by the public as the fighter that should be favored because of the slight edge in a stand-up game. I think, I guess if I was rating both these guys and their striking game, I'd probably lean towards Sakai. The one thing that stands out to me, though, in this fight is it's incredibly hard to put either one of these heavyweight fighters away, man. They've proved themselves to be extremely durable. I can easily see a path where neither one of these guys are able to put the other fighter away, really. So, I mean, I think they can both get tired in the third round, and we see a decision. I doubt that I'll bet the fight, but if I did, I'll probably be looking towards going maybe fight goes the distance or over 2.5 rounds. I know that that's dangerous, especially when it comes to heavyweights, but I don't know. I think this fight could be different here because of the durability factor of both of these fighters.
No, I agree. Just like Preston said, the decision, I mean, it's pretty safe bet. Although I am a little bit more confident in Sakaya than y'all guys, I believe. Sakaya is a lot better in the striking department. Even though to me, he backs up too much. He just doesn't do enough.
Yeah, he throws 1 or 2 punches.
Yeah, he's more like a counter kind of guy, and that's not going to fly with Muay Thai background of Sakai. Is going to constantly. He's been throwing a lot of kicks, and he's going to outstrike the guy with combos. He's got a good pocket presence in and out of the pocket. He makes great adjustments throughout fights. You look at that Arlovsky fight. You know, he made some good adjustments in that, being the slower fighter there. And I don't know if you see him last fight, Derek Lewis. He'd take Derek Lewis down, and then he'd let Lewis back up, and Lewis would just go fucking pound on his ass. Like, why are you letting the dude back up if you have the advantage? So the one thing that I guess you could say scares me a little bit is the takedowns. I think Ivanov can take Sakaya down if he chooses to do that. Although if Derek Lewis can scramble and get back up, Sakaya for sure the fuck can too. And I'm going with Sakaya pretty heavy here. I like Sakaya to win a lot at -115. There's no way in hell I'm going to pass this. This is going to be one of my max plays here. I like Sakaya a lot. So let's go ahead and move on to the next round. We got the big main event.
Yep.
Everyone's been waiting for Tyron to come back, see where his head's at. I unfortunately am not. I wish he would stay with TMZ because I can't stand the guy. And I don't want to ever see him fight again. So hopefully Burns will put him into oblivion. But so let's go. Let's get at it. We got Tyron Woodley -170. Gilbert Burns comes in at +140. Over and under 4.5. Over is +155. Under -190. Jason, start us off here. What do you got?
I think that this is a very tough fight to call. I think that there are things that we just don't know right now about both of these fighters. If we started with Tyron Woodley, I have no idea where his head is at. Is it inside the cage? Because I don't know. I mean, all I have seen him do this past year is work on his rap career. Like, we've seen some limited training sessions. We saw weigh-ins. But aside from that, we really know nothing. So the Tyron Woodley that we saw 1 year ago was not impressive, man, at all. He was destroyed by Kamaru Usman. He's always had a suspect gas tank, and he looked awful. So if his head and his heart is not fully invested inside the cage tomorrow night, I think he loses 100%. I think that he needs to be that 2017 version of himself, because if he isn't, I really do think that he is in trouble. Gilbert Burns is a hungry kid, man, that's undeniably ascending in this sport over the last 2 years. He was really impressive against Gunnar Nelson. He was the first man in almost a decade to be outside the top 5 and beat Damian Maia. The issue is that those two fighters have a very different style in that cage than Tyron Woodley. And those wins may mean absolutely nothing in the end. So we know that Burns has the grappling game. We know that he's a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And we know that his stand-up game has looked really solid lately. The problem is this is a considerable step up in class. And that can't be understated at all. If Woodley is still the Tyron Woodley that we all know and we love, it's a real problem for Gilbert Burns. And on top of that, it's the first 5-round fight of his career, I believe. So we know Woodley loves to move backwards, right, until his back is against the cage before he really sets off in the pocket. I have no idea why that is, but he does it. So it's worth noting that tomorrow night the cage will be smaller. Both these guys are used to a bigger cage, but the fight's taking place at the Apex Center on the UFC campus in Vegas, and they just don't have the room for a normal size cage. So how does that affect this fight? I guess we're really not sure right now. The price, though, is interesting. If the world was on Woodley, this line would have really started moving towards the minus 200 and over range. And I think that the fact that Burns is still at around plus 150 means that he's getting respect in the betting market by the people that matter in this space. So I on the Pub Sports Radio article on pubsportsradio.com, I didn't give out an official pick, but I gave out a lean. At this price, I lean Gilbert Burns here, man. Am I betting it? I'm not sure yet. I want to see what happens to this line the closer that we get to the fight. However, do I see a situation where I end up betting him due to the line movement? Yeah, I do. I really think that I might take a shot on the kid if the price is right. So that's where I'm at right now.
Wow. What do you think, Preston?
Yeah, so, I mean, you can just take Burns with the whole 4 straight dogs, 4 straight main events here in the UFC. It's an interesting fight. It's a tough fight because Woodley does have devastating knockout power. I mean, he's shown it against Koscheck, Haran, Lawler, just like one clean shot. And we've seen who did he get knocked out by? Hooker. Burns got knocked out by Hooker, but I mean, Hooker's tough too.
Yeah, Dan Hooker's a beast.
Yeah, so it's an interesting fight because Woodley, you would think, would have more advantages here. Look, I mean, granted though, he didn't look that big. He didn't look as
big. Smaller.
Yeah, I thought
he looked smaller.
Yeah, I thought he was a lot bigger than what he looked. Like they kind of look pretty similar stature, so that should help Burns. Woodley's a heavy hitter though. He came out at the beginning, constantly used his wrestling, kind of waned off that and became more of a stand-up type fighter, besides taking Till down and killing Darren Till, which was quite impressive. It's interesting because I do like Burns a lot, and I'm not a huge Tyron Woodley fan, but you would think Woodley has more advantages to win. As you were saying, first 5-round fight, if Burns doesn't get him out of there round 1, round 2, you would think Woodley would punish Burns more than Burns would potentially punish Woodley.
Yeah, but would you though? Because I would bet that Gilbert Burns' gas tank and stamina is way better than what we've seen from Tyron Woodley the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to think though that Woodley, his plan would be in around 4 or around 5. Or he would at least talk to his coaches probably, would be to clinch against the cage and just try to win the round that way and maybe drag him down. I don't think he would just try to pot shot him. It's a tough fight because Burns isn't going to one-shot knock out Tyron Woodley like he did Maya, and I don't think he's going to easily get him to the ground and tap him out either. I think it's more – I would lean more towards Woodley knocking Burns out and then maybe Burns getting the decision. It's tough because
Here's the thing, though, man, is that one, you said Woodley, is he going to listen to his corner? How does he ever listen to his corner? Because some of his game plans are fucking garbage. Like the guy comes out, you never know where you're going to get. Like Jason said, you can always count on him being backed up against the fence. It's just something that happens in his fights. Like, yeah, I don't know why, but
yeah, he's not like. He's another one of the guys who's just not like super dominant.
It's like his fucking IQ isn't that good for the caliber fighter he is, you know. But on the flip side, and Burns is a fucking world class. I mean,
grappler.
Like he's on another level. Granted, this has to be noted. Woodley's a black belt too, and Woodley's never fucking been submitted.
No,
Never.
Woodley's tough. Yeah, Woodley's really tough.
So I don't know. That could be like another void. You saw what happened when Damian Maya had Gilbert Burns in a choke and Burns out got it. Maybe those two can void each other out. So is this going to be more of a stand-up fight?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And if it exclusively takes place on the feet, I would think the power of Woodley would do more than what Burns presents, but Burns might be a little more active. It's
a
tough.
fucking tough fight, Jason.
You know what? One aspect of handicapping MMA that most people don't take into consideration is we already know what Tyron Woodley is, right? Yep. He will do nothing in that cage that will surprise us, right? Gilbert Burns is getting leaps and bounds better every time he gets in the cage. So we have no idea how much better he'll be than the last fight. And that little space in between what a young fighter was last fight and what they will be in the next fight is everything. You know what I mean? That's just an interesting point that I don't bring up that often. So I don't know, man. I could easily see Gilbert Burns winning a decision because Tyron Woodley does not throw a lot of volume. I mean, look what we saw him do against Wonderboy for 2 fights. I mean, the guy threw like 10 punches around.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And he threw less than that for fucking Usman. Like, did he even throw a punch that fight?
No, he just got
I don't think he even did, dude.
The cage, yeah.
I mean, the other thing too, like you said, is Burns is fucking confident. He's confident as any fighter right now. He's calling out fucking Usman. He wants a piece of that belt, dog. He's fucking. Yeah. And you got poor little crybaby Woodley who's so fucking mentally weak. And I hate fucking Woodley, but the dude's fucking so mentally weak. He fucking gets in these little Twitter beefs and all this little bullshit on TMZ, fucking bullshit. And he's fucking depressed. He lost his belt to Usman. Like, come on, dude, you're a fucking fighter.
And with all that said, he has the power to shut the lights off with one punch.
No, he does. And that's the fucking part. That's the one thing. Because if it wasn't for that power, I think that Burns does win this fight. And that's the only thing that scares me is because Burns does leave his fucking chin exposed. He does leave it exposed too. Even fucking Maya had some shots on him. I gotta rewatch that fight, but I think he fucking hit him with a few good fucking shots there. Burns just left his head right open.
Yeah, it was a pretty close fight until the knockout punch, and then it was one shot.
So that's the thing that scares me. With that being said, man, I don't know. I'm gonna just go with dude. I want to go with Woodley just because I'm like, man.
Yeah, this is
as much as I hate Woodley, I'm going with Burns. Fuck it, I'm going with Burns at +140. I'm gonna take a shot with Burns. I hate Woodley, and I don't like his game planning. I don't like anything he does. To be honest with you, I just don't. If he's gonna win this fight, it will be by his power. He's not gonna out wrestle this. He might out wrestle this dude, but Burns will find ways to scramble up and keep it on the feet.
Yeah, you just got to hope though that Burns doesn't get hit too much by the power and like eats a lot of shots to where he gets drained a bit. Because that was my biggest issue before Oliveira really started turning up these last 4 or 5 fights, where he was getting caught a lot and then mentally quitting. I haven't really seen Gilbert Burns quit though. He just got dropped and one shot knocked out by Hooker. So
I'm gonna kind of cheat here. I'm gonna call this a dogger pass. I'm gonna lean Woodley to win, but I wouldn't bet Woodley. I would bet Burns.
Don't you dare be on the fence, Jeff.
I'm on the fence. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna fucking dogger pass this bitch.
I'd probably take the man, even under 4.5 is bullshit. Like,
yeah, no,
you're laying 2-1 on an under 4.5 is pretty crap too.
Fuck it, Jason. I'm on, dude. I'm on with you. Burns it.
Boy.
140. You got my side. That's how much I hate Woodley, and I don't believe in Woodley anymore.
I don't want Woodley to win because Woodley wins. You know,
at the very least, you have to say Gilbert Burns is live tomorrow.
Oh yeah, he's live. Big time.
Right? That's all you want from a +155 dog.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was going to say Gilbert Burns has more overall skills, I think, than Tyron Woodley. With he definitely has a definitive jiu-jitsu edge. He's been more active. That always helps. when you got these guys who are active, they're in the gym. They're like you're saying, they're getting better. Woodley's been out for a year, 13 months, 14 months.
But you look at that one fight, like Woodley was kind of getting his ass kicked by Till, and then he got the lucky shot, right?
Nah, he dominated.
Oh, did he?
pretty bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to look back at that.
I do think that ring rust is a real thing, but when you're talking about a guy that has basically competed professionally since high school and above, and is still only around 36 years old, I think that he probably comes into the fight conditioned. But my issue with that is when he's come into fights conditioned, his gas tank has still been weak.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm probably going to pull the trigger on him.
And that's even scary too, because Woodley, like you said, he's not a fucking high volume guy. So how the fuck is he gassing so quick? I don't know, man. I don't know.
How's Connor gas after a round and a half? You know,
yeah,
it's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, man, that wraps it up with our picks. We're gonna go through and just do a quick best bet real fast. We'll start off with Preston. What's your best bet for this card?
Yeah, this is definitely one of the hardest cards so far. I personally think the best bet is over 2.5 and Blagoy Ivanov versus Augusto Sakai. I know it's minus 180. You're laying a little more juice than you'd probably like, but Ivanov's taken a lot of hard shots from bigger punchers than Sakai, and I don't think Ivanov's going to knock Sakai out. So, I think over 2.5 is the best bet there. That's where I'm going. Jason, what do you got?
I agree with everything Preston just said. I think this is a really tough card to make money on. Mm-hmm. And I really like that bet. I said that when we were talking about it, over 2.5. You could shop that number. I see minus 155 out there for that over. But I like that bet. I like Chukagian, the Jersey girl, get it done as a dog. And I guess Burns. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Plus 140. I mean, like you said, that's all you want in a live dog. And we know what happens in main events. It's the trend.
Yeah.
So I got two best bets. I got Sakaya minus 115. I'm going to take that pretty heavy. And then I really like this Chris Gutierrez to get it done minus 107. This is the first fight of the night. It always either fucks me or it makes the night better.
Yeah,
so.
can't be as bad as last.
Yeah, I like to get put out of my misery either right away or fucking drag it out a little bit. So we're gonna play those two bets, and we'll have some more out. But Jason, I want to appreciate you as always coming on. Let everyone know that you can find Jason on the Sports Keg YouTube, and he runs NASCAR and all kinds of live events. Jason, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, tomorrow night, obviously, on the Sports Keg YouTube network, we'll have the Fightcast. My Twitter account is at the Sports Keg CEO, and there'll be an article up for Pub Sports Radio for the Sunday NASCAR race tomorrow afternoon. So look out for that.
Great. Yeah. Also, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Natural Heights, the CBD company. You can catch them in San Antonio here off 1880 Nacogdoches Road. Phone number 210-592-1060. Shout out to MyBookie AG. Use our promo code Pub Sports. Get in while it's hot. And Preston, you got anything to wrap it up with?
No, I mean, that should be it. Perhaps next week we might be taking a trip for 250. We haven't decided yet.
Yep, thinking about taking a trip down to Mississippi, the Biloxi. I think they're opening it up. We'll see. It's the closest thing to us for now, so we'll probably shoot out that way. 250 looks to be like a good card.
Yeah,
we can make some money on.
Yeah, 250 I think is a much better card for sure.
And we'll probably also Talkin Hands will probably also be at the main card live streaming tomorrow night, so you can see our reactions when we win or lose or get drunk or whatever the hell happens.
No split decisions. Please, no split decisions.
Yep. Jason, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in.